everyone, Ben here again with Midwest Climate Engineering Watch, and we are going to discuss today climate engineering. What is that about? Where do we go from here? Why are we talking about this? Well, simple. It is the greatest threat to our species today. Ho ho! Shocker. Why is it the greatest threat to our species today? Well, imagine man playing God with the weather. The fact that I can send you rain, I can create you a drought, I can create you a wildfire, I can make your life a living hell. And you won't even know that I'm doing it. Unless you have sophisticated radar technologies, you really wouldn't know I'm doing it. Sun Tzu said that the greatest form of warfare is to make your enemy surrender before you get into conflict. That right there is climate engineering. It is the crown jewel of the weather manipulators, and that is what we're going to talk about. So, what's the purpose behind geoengineering, otherwise known as climate engineering? Well, the stated goal is to create a climate mitigation system to give us the ability to last longer, to circumvent, to reduce greenhouse gases by introducing a pharmaceutical solution to the planet. Hey, sounds good to me. Let's just mess with things and make things worse for everybody else by, once again, not letting nature do its thing. Ooh, excuse me. Doing climate engineering is similar to taking a high blood pressure pill or really any kind of medication that's prescribed to you. If you read the bottles on the side effect, or if you read the side of the bottle, it gives you about, 500 side effects. Then you're going to need medication for all those side effects. You're going to keep taking medication until you die. Pretty much how climate engineering works in a nutshell. So one of the programs is solar radiation management. What's that all about, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Solar radiation management is taking planes up in the atmosphere and having them disperse highly reflective nanoparticulates such as aluminum, barium, strontium, in nanoparticulate format to create a mirror. This mirror becomes reflective, reduces the incoming sunlight coming into the Earth, which is termed as global dimming by the scientific community. Take a look, don't believe everything I say. Called global dimming, which reduces the incoming thermal energy, reflects it back into space. However, sounds great, but it isn't, because going forward with it, the canopy of aerosols creates it gives you short-term cooling, but it gives you long-term warming because the heat that's supposed to be coming up from the Earth is being trapped and it has nowhere to go. So you're making the situation more worse. On top of that, the fallout from these nanoparticulates are coming down into the air column, and we're breathing them all in. Nature's infested by it. That's why we have things like colony collapse, respiratory illnesses. I think it's like in the top 10 of what's killing the country. People in the U.S., colony collapse, respiratory illnesses, neurological disorders such as Parkinson's, autism, heart issues. These things are bioavailable, they build up into your system, and they don't leave. Such as nanoplastics. Those are built up in the billions of micro counts. I don't even know what the correct number for those is, but they're built up into your system, and they're one of the reasons why people are dropping dead at young ages, why the IQs are dropping. I mean, we are in it to win it, and by that I mean we are going to seriously bleed out and die as a world, the way we're acting. So that's solar radiation management. How are they able to move these nanoparticulates, you ask? Oh, I got the answer for you. Ionospheric heaters. Ionospheric heaters are big microwave installations across the world, and 5G towers too. And they're scattered across the world, across the country. And if you think it's just the U.S. doing it, no. All these other countries are doing it together. There's an 800-page Senate document in geoengineeringwatch.org you can look up. Just Google Geoengineering Watch, send a document. It'll pop up. It tells you there that they need compliance from other countries across the world to do this. So, the ionospheric heaters microwave the atmosphere, create a dome that manipulates the jet stream's movement. The microwaves have impacts on the nanoparticulates, and whichever they want to make the flow of the jet stream, whichever they want to make the flow of the microwaves go, whichever direction, So will the particulates go. There's plenty of videos out there that shows you what happens if you put nanoparticulates in waters. Oh my god, the reading I'm doing today. If you put nanoparticulates in water, you put a magnet next to it, or if you turn on a microwave or a sound wave, the water zigzags across the across the sink. It's pretty crazy. Look it up. So that's how they're able to move these things around after they spray them. It's not just you spray and then it just sits there and it does its thing. They have to turn on the microwave emitters. Sometimes people get headaches right before a storm. That is because the microwave emitters are cooking the atmosphere and people are highly sensitive to the impacts of these microwaves. So that's the first one. The other one is chemical ice nucleation for weather modification. That is the ability to make it snow and rain. If you go to geoengineeringwatch.com or .org, whichever one, either both will get you to the same site, there is a list of patents going into the hundreds regarding weather manipulation that our government has in geoengineering programs. All the way in the 1800s, 1890s, how to make it rain. Seriously, look it up. So, chemical ice nucleation for weather modification, what does that do? How does that work? Well, what they do is they have to bring in moisture into the region by creating rainfall. After they create rainfall, after they cool it down, they spray the atmosphere with nanoparticulates, with bacteria such as E. coli, turn on the microwave emitter, coagulate the particles, stick it to the moisture, and it falls straight to the ground, creating it through flash freeze effects. You can look this up if you look at ice nucleation or chemical ice nucleation, a YouTube video. You can see a guy taking a jar, spinning it, and it's a flash freeze effect. That is how they are creating snow. There was an article not too long ago that stated E. coli was located at 33,000 feet. How did that get up there? Well, mainstream media said there was a updraft from a restaurant that blew it up there. That's right, folks. That's how dumb they think you really are. That's the explanation. So, with chemical ice nucleation, what do we get out of it? Well, we get snow. How do you know the snow has been chemically ice nucleated? Well, here are the things to look for this upcoming season, or if you have a good memory. First, the snow does not have runoff. It just dries out like dry ice. 2, remember there was a time 20 years ago where you can pick up snow in a big clump and have snowball fights with it, build forts, do whatever you wanted to do. Now the snow just kind of is weak. It's just kind of there. It's extremely cold to the touch. 3, extremely slick. Extremely slick. Geoengineering Watch did a lab sample, sent it to a lab, picked up some snow, and found that the snow contained surfactants, a highly slick substance. Yep, soap-like substance that is the leading cause of why we keep having ridiculous amount of accidents in our cities and country. Why are all these programs happening? Well, the Pentagon has stated that national security is the most important thing for our country, and when it comes to national security, one of the biggest threats is climate change. Here's a state from studying the Pentagon. Studying the intersections of climate change, resource scarcity, and conflict, I realized that the military's take on global warming was a vision of climate change that is not part of the public discussion. While environmentalists point out the ecological issues involved, like habitat destruction and mass extinctions, the military focuses on threat to human institutions and communities. He says the armed forces see the greatest threats from climate change being state collapse and mass migrations that are going to create chaos around the world and lead to a lot of dangerous tasks that they prefer not to undertake. So there you go. The military sees climate change as a force multiplier, meaning it adds on to the disasters that are coming. Okay, it's going to create things and make things more worse. Also, climate change. Hang on one second here. As I said, I'm technically literate. All right. Also, climate change, being that it's in the top 10 of the biggest threats in the military and for the national security, they can make these programs covert. Geoengineering Watch tried to do a FOIA request on UVC radiation. Simple UVC radiation. The mainstream media tells us stops at 100,000 feet in the air. Geoengineering Watch did numerous studies and did numerous readings and found that currently we have UVC hitting the surface of the planet, which is not good. That's why when it feels like the sun is burning your skin, that's why it feels like it's incredibly hot. It is. The ozone layer is dying because of these geoengineering programs. So the solution is to create things like wildfires by drying out the land with nanoparticulates and finding a source of ignition, regardless of if it's directed energy weapons, somebody starting a fire, a dumb camper, anything. Doesn't matter what the source of ignition is. The layout is there, especially Northern California and Siberia and Africa and the Amazon and Australia. These burn downs happen because the slate has been set. To make these burn downs happen, you got to dry out the area with these nanoparticulates. You got to dry out the atmosphere. You got to make it highly susceptible to being set on fire. Once that happens, it's no longer a regular fire. It becomes a chemical fire because there's no moisture. It's all dried out. The smoke goes in the atmosphere. They use the particulates that they spray as well as the atmospheric heaters to move the smoke around, mostly to the Arctic, to try to bring back the ice pack that's melted, which has been highly unsuccessful. Again, these programs are a ridiculously stupid thing to do. The trade-offs cost incredibly more instead of just letting nature respond the way it is supposed to be. And really, they don't want to let go of it because it's a weapon of war. They have the ability to shoot a round in any direction that they want without the person knowing that the round has been fired with weather manipulation. The ability to cause droughts, the ability to destroy farmland, the ability to destroy water supply, the ability to just create chaos and upheaval in the country. Iran has been a target of it. They came out in 2010 and called out the 2010-2011 called out the United Nations, saying that why is our rain being cut off? They had sophisticated weather radar technology that saw the rain clouds are coming in, and suddenly they're being destroyed by nanoparticulates and atmospheric heaters. If you don't believe anything I say, which I don't think you should, you don't believe anything I say, please do objective research. Go to geoengineeringwatch.org and please look up the way the satellites look at the satellite video that they have done diligent work to show how the atmospheric heaters are blowing away these storm clouds, how they're controlling hurricanes, how they're creating storms. Nothing is natural anymore. And being that nothing is natural, it's causing us to die. It's causing the planet to die. It's causing a whole host of issues. And we as people keep playing it off like it's not happening. It's happening. And I need people to start realizing this, because the next episode, we are going to talk about why in the world we are here with this COVID lockdown, what the plan is, and how this is going to work. You're not going to like it. You're not going to believe me, nor do I want you to. But you will hear me. You will think about it. And we're going to work together on this. So, as always, folks, please remember this. Choose dangerous freedom instead of peaceful slavery. Thank you.